All right. Last little bit and we'll be finished. So right now it says solve the matrix equation A times X equals B for A equals this and B equals this matrix. So basically they want us to solve for X. So essentially what you would do and usually to solve for X is you would say X equals B divided by A, right? Well, we can't do that with it being a matrix. So X really equals B times the inverse of A. Because this is A to the first power, and if it's in the denominator, if we move it to the numerator, it becomes a negative exponent, okay? So, let's put both of these in. We've got a 3 by 3 and a 3 by 1. Put them both in and see what we can come up with. All right, matrix, I'm editing 3 by 3. I'll edit matrix B. And if you try to put it in your calculator, just as I have it written here, B times inverse of A, matrix B times the inverse of matrix A. We get an error message, don't we? Well, good thing for multiplication is you can switch things around and it still equals the same thing. So let's try A to the negative 1 times B. So the inverse of A times B. Let's see if that will let us multiply. The inverse of A times matrix B. And it does, doesn't it? So we would say X equals negative 4, negative 16, and negative 33 as a matrix. If they asked you to write this as an ordered pair, if they asked you to write it as three separate things, you could say X equals negative 4, Y equals negative 16, and Z equals negative 33. All right, and this next part is actually going to take us back to, I went back and looked in your notes, and it's like page 28. So that was lesson 1-7. So that's from a long time ago. And it's where we use matrices to solve systems of equations. And they just want us to set it up as a matrix. So your x values go together, your y values go together, and your constants go together. That's it. B, x values go together, y values go together, z values go together. What happens if there's not a z value, though? 0, yep. And then your constants go together. And we're not actually solving any of these. They just wanted us to write them as a matrix. All right, that's all. That's what we do to set it up. And then they actually just want us to solve example 3. So 3, 4, 8, 3 halves, 2, and 5. Remember, when we do this, we use RREF. I'm going to give you a second to get that put in your calculator. So that is a 2 by 3 matrix. Alpha, you can do alpha y equals. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to do 3. All right. So when you put this in, we had 3, 4, 8, 3 halves, 2, 5. Second matrix, and we go over to math. Remember I told you we were looking for RREF, right? Y'all see it? It's B. Keep going down until you see it. Ooh, wrong spot for that. Crap. All right, second matrix, go over to math and then down to RREF. I'm going to put in matrix A and hit enter. So normally you would have a 1 here, a 0 here, a 0 here, and a 1 here, and it would tell you your answer in the last column. But because this has a 1.33, that means that there is no solution, and both of these are 0. So for number 3A, your answer is going to be no solution. I want you to do the same thing for B. I'll give you a few minutes, and then you can tell me what your solution is. Remember, we've got 1, 2, -4, 4, 1, -2, 2, -10, -1, -1, 1, and 4. I'm just getting the coefficients of each term. Put it in your matrix, come up with or then do the RREF for me. So the first row is going to give you your X value, the second row your Y value, the third row your Z value. Has anybody got it yet? What y'all get? What do you get for X? Did you do RREF? What did you get on the very bottom? Or like the very last column? Last column. Yeah. -3? No, that's the last row, last column. I just want the whole last column. That's X, Y, and Z. Alright, she's -6, -1, -3. So that means that's X, Y, and Z. Alright, last example, and then we'll be finished. Alright, in the book it talks about for 1 week a company budgeted like $320 for labor and $600 and something for materials to build or to make women's and men's sneakers. And then they wanted to see how many sneakers they could make with that amount of money. And then it said, so for a 3-week period, the same company budgets $860 for labor. Well, for one pair of women's sneakers, it takes $10 in labor to make. So 10L plus 14L, that's how much it takes to for labor for men's sneakers. Or no, not L. Let me change that. Women's sneakers, men's sneakers. And for labor, it takes $860. Now, for materials for women's sneakers, it takes $12. Materials for men's sneakers takes $18. And they have budgeted $1,080 worth of materials for that. So if we write this as a matrices, we got 10, 12, 14, 18, 860. That was supposed to be W. 860 and 1080. This will be, when we get it, it'll give us our men's and our women's sneakers that we can make. So again, we're going to use RREF. So you should get like 1, 0, 0, 1, and then two other numbers, right? What'd y'all get? 30 and 40. So what that tells me is, with those materials, with that budget, we can make 30 women's sneakers, and 40 pair of men's sneakers.